you think?
Okay, let's see if I can do this correct. I mean, it's been a few days, so let's make sure I'm doing it correct. Number one, if you'd like to say, good morning, Ann, you're looking good here, glad to have you back, I'd love to hear that. If you'd like to do it on Facebook Live, I can use the support. I just want you to know it's great to be here. I think we're on the radio. Check. I believe, yes, we're on Facebook Live, so check. I have audio on, so it's not a silent movie here today, so we got it all going on. So how you doing today? Did you have a good weekend? Were you sad this weekend about all this with Charlie Kirk and just the unbelievable, ripped out of your gut, the feeling of complete chaos that is happening in our country? I mean, can you actually believe that we are in a situation where we just do not have any ability to speak our minds? One of the tenets of, the Constitution, well, actually the Bill of Rights are freedom of the press, freedom of religion, freedom of speaking our minds. All these things, these freedoms that we have are definitely under attack. And when somebody is sitting there on a college campus, which, we've always thought of college campuses as the right for discussions and, the outlandish things maybe that were discussed, but the very fact that they were able to be discussed, we now see that they are not. I mean, this is not a news breaking as far as that goes. After all, we've seen what's happened with people supporting Hamas and not the Jewish people, or just not even seeing that people have a right to live and breathe. This is the thing that just gets me to my core. And it makes me wonder, what is the next step if we can't pull things back? I certainly hope that we can. I hope that Charlie Kirk's death may become a wake-up call, right? A wake-up call to what, to where we're headed. I think the comments that have been made by some professors and teachers to the glee that Charlie Kirk is no longer amongst us is frightening. Is frightening to see this. I know when this happened on Wednesday, I was mortified that our whole fabric of our country, that somebody who was simply trying to debate and engage students in conversation was shot down. Now, we know that the man is he's a young man, 22, in custody. Evidently, he is not cooperating. He is not cooperating with officials. The one thing that I do say that I think that this could possibly be a breakthrough in where this information, if it doesn't get spun out of control, how this young man who was, I think his dad is a preacher, minister, Mormon, I believe, and how this young man who had gone to college, dropped out of college after going to school for 1 month. I think he had good grades. I mean, everything you read about his life was pretty normal. And somewhere after he got into college, something happened. Somehow he got, I'm going to use the word radicalized. And I think other people knew this. I mean, maybe not to the extent that he would walk onto the campus, go up on the roof and kill Charlie Kirk in front of a couple, 3,000 people right there, standing there watching. But he's facing aggravated murder and other felony charges. I think he goes to court tomorrow, and they'll be unveiling more of the charges. But how did this young man change? And so my only hope and prayer is that by this person not killing himself, not being killed by police officers or whatever, the very fact that he is alive, maybe they can find out some information about where this is coming from, because this is just so unhealthy and just causes so much angst amongst all of us. I mean, to the depth of our core, we cannot imagine how this is happening. So, the bottom line to me is that at least the 22-year-old is still alive. They are taking very extreme to make sure that he is, does not allow himself to commit suicide or something, because I'm sure that would be a huge thing that he would try to do, but that he is in custody, is being watched, and they are just waiting to get all the information together about this case. What was your reaction to this? I was devastated. I just could not believe. And I think the other thing that is so devastating in our world today is this was done in a public forum on a college campus. Videos were circulating everywhere. As Charlie Kirk was killed by this man, if it is him, I mean, I guess we better say allegedly, but what has happened to our society where we just take all this violence in stride and just go, okay? We have children that have seen this. I mean, I understood that I've heard that somebody went to discuss it with their children about this, and they had already seen the video, even though the teacher had tried to lock it all down. So this is the type of thing that we deal with in today's world. I am so glad that I grew up when I grew up. That's all I can say. I would hate to have to be a child growing up in today's world. So do you have any opinions on it? 864-229-7984, 864-229-7984. There have been prayer vigils all across our okay. There have been prayer vigils all across the country. Of course, his body was flown back to Phoenix, Arizona. Great outpouring of memorials, and the Kennedy Center last night. They had a huge memorial service, anyways, a remembrance of Charlie Kirk. J.D. Vance is going to be hosting Charlie Kirk's show today at noon. So that's pretty interesting. It's also very interesting that J.D. Vance was right there bringing the casket back to Arizona from Utah. He was one of the pallbearers, and he was on the plane that brought it. President Trump, I know, is just feeling so devastated about this. But our country has to get back on track. We cannot, I don't see how we go forward as a country if we don't actually come to some appreciation for a different point of view. My feeling has always been, and I love discussing politics with whoever. I love listening to somebody else's point of view, because, and I love the fact when somebody will listen to me, at least let me give my lay out my position. And I think that's being with being married to Jeff Eller for all these years. Jeff was a great debater. And he was a great debater because he had a mind like a trap. He could remember everything, and he could pull, he used to say that his brain was filled with a lot of useless information, except when he needed it. And he was so straight down the line, capable of giving you his reasons, and made a lot of sense, which is why everybody on WCRS used to enjoy Jeff Eller, political pundit. He would come on the air and explain why the city or why the county or why the state or why we're doing stupid stuff. And he could give you the reasons 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think I have that ability, but I do have the ability to speak my mind on a lot of things and to share. And so, if we cannot have civil discourse in this country, our country is done. And if our people become so afraid to go out that they're all staying in their houses, then the things that we fought for 250 years ago and continue to fight for today are going to slip away. There's a whole contingent on the other side that is now standing up and saying that they will fight, just as President Trump stood up after he being shot. Fight. And I just think that we have got to carry the mantra forward. I think, I'm sure that you have seen some of Erica Kirk's statement 2 days after her husband was shot and killed. She stood up there and gave what I would consider a most eloquent speech about that the left does not realize the fire and the that will continue, because this was, if they thought that this would make people cower, that they are totally wrong. That's not exactly the quote, but that his movement will continue. His movement will continue. There will always be a turning point. And in truth, are we at a turning point in this world? So I think that is so true, and she has vowed that her husband's memory, that he will not have died in vain. And such a well-spoken woman, such the capability to have stood up there and with tears coming down her cheeks, she still stood there and said what she needed to say. And I think a lot of people needed to hear that. So there are new chapters, I understand, of Turning Point popping up all over. I think that that is a terrific thing. I heard where at some college campuses that people were dressed in suits, boys were dressed in suits in honor of Charlie Kirk. You know, and I don't see how you can be against the things that Charlie Kirk believed in. Family, faith, getting married. I mean, come on. How can you not be for these things, folks? Those are the basis of our country. And so, and the other thing that I thought was really interesting, which I haven't followed Charlie Kirk other than to hear his comments on the news and this type of thing. But I have felt that they were making the comparison that Charlie Kirk actually got his start by listening to Rush Limbaugh, and has been known as a happy warrior, just like Rush Limbaugh. So there are voices out there, and I think the thing that needs to happen is more voices need to speak out instead of cowering and not doing anything about it. This idea that our country has to be so divided that we have to have extremism on the left and extremism on the right is just not right. We need some middle ground to tie everything together. One of my Supremo texters is here today, and she had written on Friday, "No Ann Eller show this morning?" No, I was out having a good time with the kids, and it really was great. But she says, "I find it quite interesting that we have not heard anything about the Epstein files in the last 5 days." You know, isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? There has been some, the birthday card thing with Trump has now surfaced, and they're claiming it's his signature, but I don't even want to get into that today. So there is some work still on that. But it's not being carried by, shall we say, the mainstream media. Then she goes on to say the left wing and the right wing have to work together for the bird to fly. And isn't that the truth? A one-winged bird cannot fly, folks. And that is why we need both sides. And we need both sides flapping up and down at the same point. That is such a good point and such a good analogy. When we look at our government, when we look at what is happening, the end of the month is coming, and oh Lord, will we be doing a CR, continuing resolution, or will we actually provide a budget? And I don't know. And I think the other thing that's happening in our government, look at how many people are dropping out to not run again. I think that it is going to open up for quite a contest for next year. With a lot of new people out there. And how strong will the left be? How strong will the right be? And will these people that are getting out of politics, will they actually help the next person? Will they help the next person become that person? Our country is at such a flux right now. It's just, well, I'm going to tell you what I did this weekend. One, I went to Augusta just to eat with a friend and just kick around and go something called old-fashioned retail therapy. We just went shopping at a couple of places and had a great time. Had something good to eat over there in Augusta. And then Sunday, I was out there working on my bench that I've been redoing. I stripped it last week, and this weekend I finished staining it and painting it against what a lot of people have told me I should do, but I love it. I think it looks fabulous. When I get it all set up, I'll share a picture so y'all can see my crazy idea I had. I think it looks pretty cool. But I think that this could be also a turning point where people just don't want to hear all the news. I mean, have you ever thought about, I just can't watch any more news? And I think that this is something that, I'm actually feeling. I've always been, I got to watch, I got to know, I got to be in charge of all of this. And right now, I am just so sick of hearing about it. Don't know if you know this, but coming up on October 1st, they are having a hearing right here in South Carolina on going for a total ban on abortions here in South Carolina. And I plan to have, hopefully we can find a time where Representative John McCravey can come on and explain his position. And I am going to hopefully be able to give what other people are saying about this, so we can have a real discussion about what this law means. Is it extreme? Is it protecting the baby? What is the bottom line to this law that they are going ahead and having a real discussion about? There's also discussion, I haven't heard whether this is officially going to happen, but if schools like Clemson that gets state funding does not do something about firing, they have told these professors over there, I guess, shut up. But they have not fired them yet, and there is quite a huge outpouring of wanting to see that these professors at Clemson and at other schools around our state and around the nation be fired. Some actually have been. And does that fall against their First Amendment right? Should they be able to speak freely? Does being a college professor come with any responsibility to keep some of your opinions to yourself? 864-229-7984. If you'd like to jump in on that one, I think that's another interesting policy. And we have seen in some of our K through 12 schools, some teachers have made outlandish, well, not outlandish, I guess they've spoken their mind, been happy that Charlie Kirk was killed. How can anybody be happy about Charlie Kirk, another human being, losing their life, being assassinated by another individual, and that we just become okay with it? How can this be okay? That's what I want to know. So some schools have already fired the teachers. I think that is a good thing. I think teachers are not supposed to put all of their opinions out there, are they? Aren't they supposed to be working with expanding their whole, both sides of the issue, putting the whole story out there? Yes, this is what I always thought it was about. But that doesn't seem what we have. We have people that think it is okay to speak their minds, to laugh about the loss of somebody else's life. Clemson University, Clemson suspended an employee over social media comments mocking Kirk's death. The university is investigating posts by employees flagged by the Clemson College Republicans. State GOP leaders have pushed Clemson's Board of Trustees to take immediate and appropriate action. The university and legislative bodies are discussing revising or tightening policies around social media behavior for faculty, especially when connected to politically sensitive events. Joint student groups across the campuses, college Democrats and Republicans at a number of universities have issued joint statements condemning political violence and calling for respectful discourse. This is college Democrats and Republicans. These statements often emphasize that disagreements is foundational to democracy, but violence or celebrating someone's death crosses the line. And now, free speech and event security scrutiny. Universities are now more closely evaluating how to handle security for campus events, especially outdoors or in public spaces where speaker events are more informal and harder to secure. So they are a lot going on with the death of Charlie Kirk on how we move forward. And one of the things that I don't think has received much discussion is the impact on student mental health. Students are reporting trauma, anxiety, fear. This aspect is referenced, but not usually deeply explored, asking how university counseling resources or peer support programs are responding. That's another aspect of this. But universities are in a unique place because this is the place where everything kind of churns up. And what we're finding is, and what we need to get to the bottom of on this story is, how does this keep happening? Where it's okay to pull out a gun and shoot somebody, or in the case of North Carolina, stab somebody, and just walk away and be okay with it. I know we have always had murders. We have always had things happening. But it just seems, and part of it is the media, the social media aspect of it. But something has got to tamp down. Our schools have to become truth sayers, not opinion leaders. All right, so I did want to talk a little bit about that because I just think that is a horrible situation we're in. The funeral is that's right. If you're listening on the radio, it is 10 o'clock in the city of Greenwood, South Carolina. We are, and that, of course, you are listening on the radio to WCRS. And this is another comment from one of our texters here this morning. And she says the young people just do not value life. And that is such a shame. You know, the older you get, yeah, I think maybe it's something to being young. The older you get, the more you realize how precious it is, and you better get out there and enjoy every day of it. Do to your max anything you can do. Don't you agree? I think it is. I think it is so frightening that we are in a situation where young people, you're right. I mean, we have all these games, games where people get killed in the games and then they get up and walk away afterwards. So how else can they think that? Paintball. A paintball, you know, you get hit. Okay, you got to lay down and die. But then after the game, you get up and move on. We're living in a world where young people do not value human life. I may not have agreed with everything Charlie Kirk said, but no one deserves to be killed for their opinion. As far as these people at colleges, they are entitled to their opinions, but they are also supposed to be professional. There is a time and place for everything, and for a teacher to condone a murder is unacceptable. I agree. Everybody has their rights to their opinions. But should these things be put out on social media? Should the glee of people be out there that somebody died? No. Any life that is lost is tragic. And I don't see how anybody, regardless of whether you liked Charlie Kirk, what he said, or you didn't, his life, his family, had value, and we all have value, and I wonder how they would feel if somebody that they loved was just gunned down like Charlie Kirk was. And it is, you know, that now, of course, there'll be a huge cry to do away with guns, all this type of thing, but that's not the issue. The issue to me is not the guns. The issue is how we are raising our children, what influences are influencing them in this world. Why are we seeing such lack of caring for human life? Do we not realize that if we're lucky, we may get 80 some years or plus or minus? It's sad. It's very, very sad in my opinion. Anyways, I'm Ann Eller right here with you this morning. I want to make sure that if you'd like to say something here, let me know. 864-22979 is our legacy line. That's our regular line. But I now have this new line. So if you are somebody that just never wanted to text, but you'd like to be able to leave me a message and just it gets converted to text, and I can therefore know exactly what you're thinking. I think it's a whole lot easier to call a number and leave a message than to text. I don't know about you, but when I text, I have to go back and read it 3 times and make sure I didn't make a mistake, or the idea that spell check is putting out there is, excuse me, is really what I want, or did they change what I did? So, 864-332-9355. 864-332-9355. This, if you just want it to be a text, you don't have to, you can speak it, but you can just say, I'm just texting the old-fashioned way, leaving a message, and I'll know that you don't want to have me play it, but I can certainly read it, parts of it, or whatever. But this is a great way for you to be able to be engaged in the conversation while I'm having it, instead of trying to text or me get that message afterward on our legacy line. So this new line, 864-332-9355. That's 864-332-9355. That's our new line. So you can leave me a message. You can text it the same way you have done, or you can speak it. It converts it to text. If you don't want me to say it on the air, just read the text, Ann, and I will understand. You just want me to read the text and not the actual message on the air. Still a anonymous way that you can be involved, but if you want to put your voice out there, I can. Sometimes if I have chime, I will play it. So that's just another aspect that we've started. All right. So we had earthquakes Saturday night in Greenwood, right? You know, this is actually, they were up there in Ware Shoals, How about that? This is becoming a thing here. U.S. Geological Survey recorded a magnitude 1.7 earthquake near Ware Shoals as part of a swarm of recent tremors around Lake Greenwood. The U.S. Geological Survey maps show a magnitude 1.7 occurred southeast of Ware Shoals in Greenwood County around 8 p.m. on Saturday night. Maps show the earthquake was centered just off of Nation and River Valley roads, not far from the Saluda River and just north of Lake Greenwood. So then there was another one. It says the smaller size of the earthquake, although large enough to be measured and recorded, would typically fall below the strength that a person can actually feel. However, at least 3 people have reported feeling the shakes using online reporting tools. The latest earthquake is located on the northern end of a large swath of earthquakes that have occurred over the last month near Lake Greenwood. While about 17 earthquakes with magnitudes ranging from 1.7 to 3 have occurred in the area over the last 30 days, most have been located closer to the Stony Point and Cornaca areas. This is only the second earthquake reported in that time period that occurred closer to Ware Shoals. The epicenter was estimated to be about 4 miles south of town. So that's another story. Now, it just kind of makes you wonder. Are we disturbing the earth too much to cause this? What is happening? I mean, they just did the Conisty Dam up there, right? They had all that building. It's all done. The dam is now safe. We're protected from that. We got all this building going on out at Stony Point. How deep in the ground are they going out there? Maybe we need to talk to somebody. But I mean, I'm just saying, what's causing these here? Because, a year ago we had them, but they certainly were not to the extent that they have been right here. So I just thought I'd bring that up. I found that interesting. Also, did you hear, I'm sure you've heard, Luke Rankin over there, representative over there in Lawrence, wants to see about naming a portion of the road over there in Lawrence County for Charlie Kirk. I strongly believe Charlie stands for among those deserving such a distinction, a meaningful and lasting way to honor his legacy. They have no timetable, but they're beginning to have discussion about renaming part of a road over there in Lawrence for Charlie Kirk. And of course, that's one of the things that does become a long-term memorial to someone, is to have something like that done. So I don't know if they actually have come up with what road they actually want to name or what part of the road, but that's an interesting story. So I also wanted to share this with you, and then I'm going to share what's coming up this afternoon. South Carolina celebrates the 250th anniversary of first flag raising. I did not realize that South Carolina is commemorating a pivotal moment in its history with the 250th anniversary of the raising of the first South Carolina flag On Saturday, September 13th, a special event was held at Fort Jackson to honor the Revolutionary Act that took place a quarter of a millennium ago. On this historic day in September 1775, that was September 13th, at the onset of the Revolutionary War, the first American flag to fly in South Carolina was raised. This was designed by Colonel William Moultrie. The blue flag with a white crescent in the top corner was raised over the fort. The simple banner became a symbol of the colony's growing defiance against British rule. The design of the flag with its iconic crescent would later serve as the foundation of our flag today, with a palmetto tree added after the Battle of Sullivan's Island in 1776. So that is something, and so I thought that the significance of the flag and the fact that this actually happened even before our 250th anniversary. There is so much history here in South Carolina. It really is amazing what we have seen, isn't it? So as we move forward, one of the things that you should know, winter gas switch coming this week to lower South Carolina national fuel costs. There's another big story. Because the gas costs less, I guess, to refine or something, we have the price of gas will be going down because of that. The price of gas is just too unbelievable for me. Every day you'd think, okay, it's at $2.65. I'll wait till tomorrow and see if it's $2.61. You go back tomorrow and instead of $2.65, it's $2.85. You know, it's like a game of chance when you're buying gas. But evidently, winter gas is coming this week to lower gas prices. So that is one thing that we will be seeing out there. So I just thought I would share that with you. Thought you might appreciate that. Gas prices will be going down, and who will claim credit for that? Nobody will say, well, it's because winter gas is this way. But anyways, today is National Double Cheeseburger Day. Yes, National Double Cheeseburger Day. So, however you like your cheeseburger, and of course, Whataburger opened on Thursday, I think it was. Here we have Double Cheeseburger Day today, and so, how do you like your cheeseburgers? We loved singing that song to the students at the schools we visited, and they loved having that song, and they really got into it. So, some things are iconic. A double cheeseburger, I don't think I could eat a double cheeseburger. I can't even eat one most of the time if it's a really big one. But how do you like your cheeseburgers? And do you like ketchup, mustard, or mayo? What do you like on it? But it's your day to decide how you would like to have your cheeseburger. I'm sure there'll be some specials out there for cheeseburgers. I know Whataburger, I was driving by, and I certainly have seen a lot of people lined up at Whataburger. That place has to be really efficient to keep everything going. So there's another thing you should know. Today is National Double Cheeseburger Day. All right, I'm Ann Eller. I got to tell you a couple of things coming up at 5 o'clock today. No, we don't usually do Meet Me at the Diner on Monday. But because Constitution Day is Wednesday and there's a great program coming to Lander, some reenactors are going to be talking about the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution to kick off this. And I wanted to talk to them because I find it very interesting. Lander really has quite a few programs coming up having to do with our history. So we're going to have Dr. McMillan from the What's he from? The history department, maybe? Which department? History, social service, not social services. That's something different, Anne. He covers several different genres there. He's very involved in what is happening over there at the school. So I'm really sitting down to talk with Dr. Lucas McMillan, Dean at Lander University. And we're going to be talking about upcoming community programs, including Constitution Day, a lecture on the siege of Savage Old Fields. And you're going to say, ho hum, that's not going to be interesting. Oh, yes, it is, because I'm going to be asking lots of questions. So I hope you'll tune in today, 5 to 6, right here on WCRS. We'll be live on the radio and live on Facebook. So, for everyone that tuned in this morning, thank you for tuning in right here on WCRS. Thank you for supporting WCRS, for listening to my palaver, and to being part of the conversation. You have so many ways to be part of the conversation. You can call on our legacy line. You can 864-229-7984. You can also write this number down because this is going to be the number for the future. 864-332-9355. 864-332-9355. Please let us know what you're thinking. And the good thing about this new line, it takes your message, converts it to text, and I can see it right during the show. So it'll make it a lot easier for both of us to keep updated as to what you're thinking. So write it down, 864-332-9355. If you're like me and hate to text, but you do it because you have to, hey, this way you don't. Just call and leave a message. I'm Ann Eller. This is WCRS Radio. I'll be back this afternoon at 5 o'clock. By the way, don't know whether you know this or not, but the Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette is going to be at the Republican Women's meeting today at Montague. Pretty sure they are full up on that if you hadn't already let them know that you were coming. But I'll be there and I'll be bringing you all the details of it. That is today at noon. And on Thursday, Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette will be with us right here on WCRS Radio. So without further ado, I am going to say, have a great day. Get out there and enjoy some of this glorious weather that we are having, because you know what? We need it. That's going to do it for me. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a great day. Take it away. Cue the music. Show end and take it away. Bye-bye, everybody.